There's some other people I want to thank too for what I thought was a great season. Obviously Denise and Mick and Katie and Cassie. They sacrifice a lot. I don't like to miss practice ever, and if we could have more practices, I would. And they know. And if it's snowing and we have to cancel school, I'm on the phone trying to get practice scheduled, and it's a big commitment and it's a lot of time away from them. So it's nice to know that they support us and they come to the meets and help out with tournaments and whatever they can do. So I really appreciate all their help. Our stat girls who aren't, oh, go ahead. Our stat girls who aren't here, Taylor and Lindsay, they do an awful lot. And all that stuff that they do, I have to give to the state. If they mess up, it reflects on our program. So they work hard, they keep stats, they learned a lot. They started off, they really didn't know what they were doing, and they learned quite a bit, even to a point where they were telling me, what to do. So big help. Without these girls that we get every year, it would be a terrible mess. So we really appreciate them, and make sure you thank them when you see them. The boys got fed quite a bit, so we want to thank the parents for making sure that they had sandwiches and things. I know I jumped into the cooler a couple times and got some sandwiches. I think, Daniel, was it you or who ate like 13 sandwiches in one? No, that was not Trey. Trey ate 13 or 14 sandwiches. Yes, you did. So, but not only that, we hosted the individual sectional tournament. We had our own tournament, and just a phone call away, and we had all the help we needed for those things. I really liked the individual sectionals. It was a lot of work putting it together, but everything went very smooth. I have heard nothing but compliments when I see the coaches. They thought it was great. They thought everybody did a great job. It was very professionally done, and that reflects on our program. It reflects on us. So good job, and kudos, and thanks parents for all your support with these kids. Appreciate it. Brian Daniel and the Kids Club, I want to thank them with all their support and everything. The T-shirts that they give us, and Brian tags along, and he's always got some gadgets for them to play on and lots of food for them to eat, and he's just there. He's a big support. And the Kids Club comes to our meets sometimes, and they get to sit there and watch and cheer us on, and it's a community, our wrestling program, and to know that we have the support of our Kids Club coaches and everybody involved with that, it's a big help. So thanks, Brian. Give Brian a hand. And last, obviously, the wrestlers who dedicate themselves to the sport. It's the longest season, I think, of all the high school sports. You go from November into mid-February. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and that's just practice. I ask them to do a lot on their own, and when they come in and they miss practices, or they don't feel good, or they're grumpy or whatever, it takes away from practice. And these guys, they're cheerful. They came in, they had personality, and they made the season a lot of fun, and I really appreciate it. So thanks, guys, for making the season a success. Recap this season. We finished 11-8 in duels. I think we wrestled Charleston 4 times or 3 times. But that's something that we want to improve. We want to improve our dual meets and who we wrestle. We took second in the Apollo, and really we sent kids off to a fresh soft tournament. We really probably could have won the Apollo the first year that we were in it if we put everybody in and wrestled like we would. But for me, winning the Apollo as a team, is nothing but a pat on the back. Not one person, when we wrote goals, wrote down that they wanted the team to become Apollo champions. I think most of these guys were focused on setting our goals towards that postseason. So it's a nice honor to be second in the Apollo, and I think we had 6 out of the 14 weight classes. We had first team all Apollo. And I don't know if I can name those off, but it is what it is. And hopefully with Taylorville coming in and a couple more schools that can come in Apollo, it becomes a little bit more competitive, and we could have that to win the Big 12 championship, be first team Big 12. That was something big. That was an honor. You know, right now I think it's still in the beginning stages of what the Apollo can be. As far as the season go, we had 22 wrestlers, 22 that at one point in time wrestled on varsity. That's a lot. So we relied on a lot of people on the team to go out there and step in and compete at the varsity level. I think it's just, if it's not as many, probably more than I've ever had wrestle varsity during the season at one time. So 22 wrestlers. We battled with some injuries. You know, some skin infections, you know, stuff that you wrestlers do. Hopefully it doesn't happen at the end, and it kind of did. But you know, we kind of got it together, and I thought we had a great finish. We had 7 sectional qualifiers, we had 2 state qualifiers, and we had a state placer this year. So it was nice thing. And if we want a team, if we want to build a team in the future, it's going to have to come from kids club, the junior high, the parents, the kids, the athletes, the community, administration in the school. Everybody's going to have to build a good program. And I think we're on our way. We still have some glitches to work out, but you know, as long as these kids are coming to practice and working hard, focused on their goals, I think we're gonna see a lot of success in the future. I asked the kids to write down their goals, and this year I even asked the parents to write down what goals they have for their kids. Because sometimes the kids will write down state champ. You know, hey, what are your goals? State champ. You're a freshman. You know, you've only been wrestling 2 years. I don't care. You know, I want to win every tournament. I want to be undefeated. You know, and the parents write down for their goals, you know, get out of the house. give me some time, whatever. And to see them, and I think some of the parents and some of the kids, not all of them, but they sat down and had a conversation. What do you think I should write down? The parents, what do you think I should put for this? And they were able to have that conversation, and maybe, hopefully, they could get on the same page as to what those kids expect and what the parents expect. And, you know, I thought it was a good idea. I didn't have 100% support, but those who did, you know, I had something to work on. I had one kid who wanted to lose weight. That was on his goal, to lose weight. I thought, well, I can do that. He lost, what, 25 pounds? How much did you lose? 35? 35? Not a problem. So, Ryan, how much weight did you gain? Don't look at me.
Coach, why have you been bailing on workouts?
We got to get the mats out now.
Yeah.
So, you know, and those people who had their goals set high, and they worked towards them, and they did everything that they could, and they came up short. And I'm, you know, very few people who really set their goals and worked towards them, reach their goal. They could walk off that mat and out of the room and away from the season with their head held high, because I know that they did everything they could. I know that their parents did everything that they could, and I know that I did everything I could to try to get them to reach that level. So I don't feel like we had any letdowns whatsoever. I thought that those kids who competed and worked hard and showed up for practice did a great job. So congratulations on a great season. We're going to start calling kids up, and I thought this year, since we have a lot of kids who weren't able to be here, we're just going to call up some kids and present them with their awards, and you know, if they have anything that they want to say or add, they can. That's totally up to them. So let's start off with the freshmen, our freshman JV wrestlers. Shakespeare Cowger. Come on up here, guys. Matt Etchison. Noah Miller. Ethan Smith. And Christian Sweeney. Matt? No way you could. Good job. Our sophomores that are here, Jacob Atkinson. Hey, please tell me you're going to have your hair like this next year.
Yeah.
Drew Baker and Derek Brown. Come on up here, guys.
Was it longer? A little bit longer than it was.
So these guys, hopefully their goal is already set to make varsity next year, and they're starting to work towards that. When you're on a football team or on a track team or soccer or whatever, you're mowing the grass. You know, I tell my kids when they're out shoveling the driveway, get in your stance when you shovel. You know, everything has to do with wrestling. You know, starts now, lifting weights, anything you do. If you want to be on that varsity, starts today. Our varsity wrestlers, Griffin Page. Come on up here, Griffin. Griffin finished with an 8-20 record as a freshman, and you know, it's hard. It's at 160 pounds to wrestle varsity, you're going to take your lumps, and he seemed like as he wrestled, he was improving. His mom wanted him to just not be so timid and afraid when he went out there. So I think he accomplished that, and look forward to big things out of Griff next year. So good job. Daniel Ruiz. Danny finished 5-3 on varsity, and normally my requirements are 10 matches. But with Daniel, he had a problem that he couldn't wrestle in the regionals. He was suited up, he was ready to go, but doctor wouldn't let him wrestle. Otherwise, he would have been a regional wrestler. So I thought it was appropriate for him to get the varsity. And again, big kid, freshman, wrestling varsity. You know, he showed no fear when he went out there and wrestled. Great job, Daniel. Our sophomores, Trey Overton. At one point in time, I told Trey that if he didn't win his match, he would never wrestle varsity again. And I think your dad was standing right there too. So he wrestled with a little bit more intensity. And same thing with regionals, you know, a lot more intensity. So I look forward to seeing him work on that intensity and that drive and come back. He finished with a 8-20 record this year as a sophomore. So let's turn that around. Let's get that record going the other way. Okay, good job. Upstairs. Hayden finished with a 10-14 record. And the thing about Hayden is, as he's getting older, I think he's losing a little bit of that flexibility. If you remember his freshman year, they could run a half and his elbow would be in his other ear, and he wouldn't turn. And this year is a little bit more difficult. So hopefully we'll work on his technique, and he'll get big and strong, and he'll come back next year with probably, what, 145 to get next year? So. Bradley Burbis. Along with a lot of the wrestlers, after Christmas break and the amount of practices he missed, you know, I'd look at Creed, and Creed was just doing one of these things to me. It's not my policy to remove kids from the team. So I give him a chance. I pulled him into the office. I said, do not. And I pulled 3 or 4 or 5 kids in there. individually and said the same thing. Do not miss another practice. You better be on your deathbed. I need a phone call from the parent. I need I need written documentation. If you miss anything, you will not wrestle another match. Okay? All the other kids missed more practices and they were done. He came to everyone, and not only did he come to the practices, but his workout partners, Cooper, Creed, anybody he could get tough. And you saw Brad go from here, where he was wrestling on his heels and he didn't know what he was doing, all the way up to where he was wrestling and competing with some really good wrestlers. Why? Is it because he thought, oh, this is what I want to do? No, it's because he was in the wrestling room. He was at practice. He was working hard. He got the best competition in the room. Would you agree with me? Okay, so next year, you're going to be at practice. You're going to be working out with the best kids in the room, right? And he's going to go from here to here because he really does have a lot of talent. And he finished with a winning varsity record, 13-12. Imagine what could become this kid if he dedicates himself. Good job. Next up, Nick Polston, our juniors. Nick finished with an 18-11 record. Obviously not where his goals were set, but I'm a firm believer that you gotta kind of break away all those demons that you have to build it back up, and I think we did. I think we got to that point where we had. You get beat by a kid named Ferry, and there's nothing left. And he got it back. He got his mojo back, but it came right just a little bit too late. I think one more week, and I think we would have got him on the right track. But those are the things that motivate you. Those are the things that get you into that weight room, that get you working out all summer, and come back next year. And one of those kids that never made it could be a state placer next year. Depending on how much time you put in and how much effort you put in. Good job, Nick. Chase Rogers. Good job, Chase. Chase kind of bumped around. He was 195, he was 170. Wherever he needed to go, that's where he went. And he ended up wrestling to a winning varsity record. He was 16-10, sectional qualifier, and really at a weight that he was one weight class above where he should have been. And he's another person that if he dedicates himself and he goes in there and wrestles in practice, you could be very surprised at what this young man can do. I know he surprised me this year just by, you didn't know what chase you'd get. Some days you'd get to chase it, and then with the little Facebook messages he puts on there, you're thinking, what is this guy all about? And then other days he's like, Coach, I'm going to win, and he comes in, he's all bouncy. So that's the chase I like, the bouncy chase, and the one ready to wrestle. The thing about it is this: when I coach, I can make us a leg riding, cradle riding, team, double leg takedown team. One takedown, one turn, one escape, and just work on that the whole time, and make a team full of guys that can hit double legs, a team full of guys that can hit cradles, and be really successful at that. But I don't think that's fun. I think it's fun to have a guy that can throw, or a guy that shoots low singles, or a guy that can just overpower another person. And chase is what makes it fun. He wrestled at Mascuda, and he wrestled a kid from Triad, and you talk about, there was 5 or 6 huge throws. It was great. People were standing up watching Chase. Out of everybody that was wrestling in that tournament, they were watching him and this other kid battling. It was like it was like 20. Yeah, it was 22-21, and that's exciting. And so he's got this stuff. Now he can build on that. He can improve on that. And I can work with just about anybody. If he wants to be a thrower, we can throw. If he wants to be a takedown guy, but it kind of got mixed up there halfway about, am I going to be a takedown guy or a throw guy? I think that's kind of what hurt you at the end. But he had a great year. I look forward to big things next year. You're going to come out next year, right? Okay, good.
I love you, Coach.
Thanks, man. Last but not least, Cooper. Cooper Collins. Got this for you. Kids Club donated shorts, and they give them to the junior high kids too. 2013 state qualifier. So nicely done. It looks like you could wear these as pants.
That's what I said.
Good job. Cooper finished. He was 24-8, and if you follow the season, you know when we wrestled at the Super Duels in Bloomington, he wrestled a kid from, was it Belleville?
Yeah.
Belleville East. Belleville East, and the kid threw a half in and hurt his shoulder, and you know the news came back. The season was over. Sweeney got the news that he was going to be our varsity 6-pounder, which he didn't take very well. And you know something happened, and finally the doctor said, "Oh, you know what? I don't think it's as bad as what it's supposed to be." And he was off and running. And for a kid to miss 2-3 weeks of wrestling, was it that? It was longer than that, wasn't it?
Probably about 3 weeks.
3 weeks. 3 weeks of doing nothing to come back and to qualify for state, to have a 24 and beat kids that had beaten him before at towards the end of the year shows what he did and what he was able to accomplish. And you know, I don't think he's going to be a 6-pounder next year.
Maybe.
Maybe, but I doubt it. But I'm so proud of this guy, and when you set your goals and you work and you achieve those goals, it makes everything great. So great job, Cooper. I just finished my 4th year coaching, and when I started, I had the kids that are now going to graduate, and it's hard for me because they came in and they told me what they were going to do, and I said, okay, that's fine, and I said, let's have practice, and I said, all right, who's going to do warm-ups? Just do what your warm-ups, what you do. And they were doing this thing where they were counting, and they were doing claps, and they laughed at everybody that does it now and when they warming up for tournaments. But that's how they ran their warm-ups. 1, 2, 3, and they were doing M, A, the jumping jacks, T, T. I thought, no, we're going to change this all around. And right then and there, that was the very first change. And a lot of kids can say, you know what, I'm not listening to this little short guy. He's changing things that have been done the same way for 30 years. But not these 3. These guys said, okay, let's do that. That sounds great. Anything I asked of these guys, they did. If I called them up and said, hey, I need you, I need help doing this. Okay, coach. Or hey, I'll be there as soon as I can. So I asked them to do anything. They did it. Creed, wrestling in a match. I would whistle. It was to the point where I whistled, and he'd let the guy off. Let him up. What'd you let him up for? Well, you whistled. I know, but how'd you know I wanted you to cut him? I don't know. It's just reaction. I have no idea. I don't know why I did that. I just did. So it was just kind of almost to where we could communicate without even saying anything. I'm gonna miss these guys. I hope the best for them. So it's hard. Trayton Julian. Trayton finished, and I don't know what. Did you ever figure out your career record? No. Okay. I don't have that. My computer. Huh? His goal was to have 100 career wins. He had some things happen, shoulder and something up there. But 23-10, he finished his senior year. He was a sexual qualifier. Great kid, and worked hard when he was there. Had fun. Always somebody that can sit down and talk to. Always positive. He joined the Army, so he's going to go into the service. Ryan Page. Do you know what your career record was? Right. Yeah. I know. Ryan finished 30-6. record. I know his career record. I know he struggled his freshman year, but ever since then he had just a stellar career. He got big as a house and went out there and wrestled. And sectionals, it was a tough tournament. And a lot of times at that heavyweight, you get caught one time, and man, it's a struggle. But as I said before, if you do everything you can to achieve your goal, and you come up short, you know, you can still walk off that mat with your head held high. And I think he's got a bad taste in his mouth because he was talking football after the season, and now he's talking about going into wrestling in college. So we wish him the very best. We hope he continues with success and he comes around and helps me knock these kids in the shape. So good job, man. And last but not least, Creed. Creed, big kid. Creed finished 35-8 with the record. Do you know your career wins? 119 and 38. So that fantastic career. Did a great job. He was a two-time state qualifier. He actually took 6th place this last season. I know he had his number set a little bit higher than 6, but again, what it takes to take 6th place, huh? I mean, that's tough work. He dedicated himself all summer. I mean, to the point where his dad's like, I gotta pull the reins back a little bit. He's gonna have to start mowing some grass or something because I gotta get him off the wrestling mat. And you know, just worked his tail off and came such a long way. Did whatever was asked of him, and never really didn't get in trouble or didn't get caught getting in trouble one time. So he did a great job. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of everybody here, and I hope everybody has a successful summer. If you ever need anything, hopefully we get some open gyms set up, and we'll get things taken away. Brian does a great job scheduling that and going from there. And you know that if there's a mat open, and you know, somebody's going to be there, and it's probably going to be this guy here. He also is planning on wrestling in college. They're even talking about doing a D1, which is just it's the work of high school times 5. So he's got a lot of work. It's almost like starting over, like you've never wrestled before a day in your life. But I think that with Creed, I think with Ryan, I think they're going to be very successful. Just because I know what their work ethic is, and I know what it takes at a D1 level. So, good luck, Creed. Proud of you, buddy. So, again, what's it going to take for next year? How are we going to do this? You know, other than the two guys sitting here and Trayton, where's Trayton at? Over here. Okay, these guys are all done. They're always going to be around, I'm sure, to help if you ever have any questions. But how are we going to do this? Now, who are we going to get to that next level now? We don't have a returning state qualifier. Well, we do have a returning state qualifier. Cooper. We got Cooper. We got good leadership. We got Cooper. We got Nick. We got Chase. So we got some seniors coming in. So how are we going to do it? What are we going to do? Are we going to get together and start working out? Maybe do come to the camp that we have. Maybe get weightlifting if you're not playing football. Maybe we'll get a weightlifting thing going. You know, go out and have runs or workouts. Let's stay together as a group. Call me. Okay. If you're a 260-pound graduated senior, don't call me to work out because my shoulder. But everybody else, give me a call. Let's go work out. I'm kidding, right now.
And then he'll complain about it a couple days later.
I know. Good job, guys. Great season. We'll see you again real soon.
Coach, can I say one thing? For the seniors, I don't know if an announcement's been made at the school, but Mitch Webb's wrestling scholarship the form is available for the senior wrestlers to fill out. The due date for the scholarship is April 15th. So we're really proud to give a wrestler a scholarship, and there's never been just a wrestling scholarship before. And it is not, and just for everybody's information in the future, it is not a qualification to wrestle in college. It's just that you have to be a senior wrestler. So the scholarship form is available at the student services.
Fantastic, thanks for that. Anybody else have anything they want to add? All right, let's go tally up our tab.
All right.